Hello, everyone. Matt Clark, research analyst with Money Markets, here with a special marijuana market update. Now, before I start, I want to make sure that you go ahead over to moneyandmarkets.com, sign up for our free daily e-letter after you watch this video. From Sunday to Saturday, you'll get a free e-letter that contains safe and profitable investment information from people like myself, Green Zone Fortunes editor Charles Sizemore, and our chief investment strategist Adam O'Dell. So go to moneyandmarkets.com after this video and make sure you sign up to get safe and profitable investment information delivered to your email inbox each and every day for free. Now, today, I'm releasing this special video because I want to talk about the performance of our Cannabis Watchlist on Money and Markets. Usually I wrap up the performance update at the end of our regular marijuana market update, which is coming out later this week. But this week, I have something a little special. Actually, I have two things special. One, later this week for our regular marijuana market update, I'm going to sit down with a cannabis insider that works with one of the largest CBD companies in North America. He's going to give his take on the cannabis industry, and we're going to see where he thinks things are going. So make sure you check that out. Also, before I get to the second special thing, before I get into this special update, I do want to hear how your cannabis holdings are doing. So did you follow any recommendations from our Cannabis Watch List? And if so, how are those performing for you? I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear how you're doing, how your portfolio is growing based on maybe what you're hearing here, maybe what your insights are in the market. So just email me at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com and tell me how your cannabis portfolio looks and what stocks you'd like me to examine for the future. So maybe we'll put that email address right down below here. It's feedback@moneyandmarkets.com. Tell me how you're doing, how your portfolio is doing. Tell me if you've paid any attention to our recommendations from the Cannabis Watch List, and if so, how are those doing? And what more would you like to hear from the marijuana market update? Now, to get into my second special thing, we've had some developments with our watch list, and I wanted to get you the information today as quickly as possible so you kind of be up to date as far as how things are going. And it's all great news. I'm very happy. I was very giddy on Friday. It was a great weekend, and then I was very, very giddy on Monday today as well when I record this. So I want to pass that along with you. And first off, I'll start with a recommendation I made back in November to add GrowGeneration Corporation, trades on the Nasdaq under GRWG. This was the first pure cannabis play recommendation that I made on the watch list, and it sells equipment that's used by producers basically to grow cannabis, like greenhouse products, things like that, and they're used all over the cannabis industry. And I've got great news related to it. It's the first stock on the watch list that has turned a triple-digit gain since I recommended it. As of the close on Friday, GrowGeneration jumped 109% since I added it back on November 17th of 2020. I was checking things out early for early Monday trading, and it jumped even higher, up to as high as 117%. That is massive. That is a huge gain. Some big news driving the upswing is that financial services firm Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, acquired a $1 million stake in GrowGeneration, which is pretty impressive. It's a stock investment firm that is now investing in cannabis companies, and that has spurred retail investors like you and me and others to think, well, there's something there. Another financial group, Next Financial Group Incorporated, added a $25,000 stake. IFP Advisors and Atwood and Palmer Incorporated each added a $26,000 stake to GrowGeneration. It brought the percentage of GrowGeneration stock owned by hedge funds and institutional investors up to around 51.3%. Now, of course, as retail investors, we follow the smart money, and especially those in cannabis. And there hasn't been a lot of smart money heading towards cannabis of late, but it is now. And so by following that smart money, we're investing more into GrowGeneration, and it's pushed that stock price even higher. GrowGeneration also acquired Grow Depot, which is a 2-store chain in Maine, for an undisclosed price. I think there's still more room for GrowGeneration to run, but congratulations on your gains. If you bought one I recommended back in November, that's 117% as of Monday, and I think it's going to climb even higher. Another watchlist stock that's making a big move is Planet 13 Holdings, trades over the counter under PLNHF. Planet 13, which is a huge cannabis retailer in Nevada with a superstore in Las Vegas, their stock tumbled as much as 11% since I added it in January, on January 11th. However, it has rebounded nicely and is now registering a 5% gain. That's a 16% turnaround in less than a month. There was nothing really of note that the company did specifically, although the construction of its new superstore in Santa Ana, California is now underway, and the company announced that information just last week. Completion of the new superstore is expected to be sometime in the middle of this year. The company said it will be a 55,000 square foot complex with 16,500 square feet of cannabis dispensary space and additional space for set aside for other stores and experiences, very similar to its massive Las Vegas location. Now, it's a prime location for a new cannabis store as it sits in a highly populated area in Orange County, California. It's also in very close proximity to both Los Angeles and to Disneyland, which Disneyland a very big tourist attraction, and that's kind of where their niche is in terms of where they're at in Las Vegas. Very big tourist attraction. They generate a lot of sales based on that tourism income. This is Planet 13's first store outside of Nevada, and I think it's going to do very well, even in the crowded California cannabis market. Now, the last stock on the watch list I want to address is Turning Point Brands Incorporated, trades on the New York Stock Exchange under TPB. Since I added this stock to the watch list in October of 2020, it's climbed up nearly 80%. That's considerably more than the 9.3% jump the tobacco production industry has seen in the same time. Now, the company is known for producing products like rolling papers and things like that that are traditionally used in the tobacco industry. However, those products are now starting to see a growth in use in cannabis as well. Turning Point recently announced the pricing of a $250 million secured note with proceeds being used to repay its existing term loan and its revolving credit lines. They're going to take one loan and they're going to lump in all their debt and pay it all off. That's pretty aggressive. They were able to do that. The company's stock also did receive a nice bounce after the announcement that Jazz Pharmaceuticals PLC is acquiring GW Pharmaceuticals PLC for around $7.2 billion. This is a huge cannabis acquisition, and the entire cannabis market has really benefited from it. Now, another thing to note about our watch list is Scotts Miracle-Gro Company, which trades on the New York Stock Exchange under SMG. The company recently reported a 105% jump in sales during the first 3 months of this fiscal year to around $748.6 million. And that's a quarterly record for the company. This is obviously a traditional fertilizer company, but its products are used widely in the cannabis industry, making it a good pick and shovel cannabis play. The stock dropped as much as 14% since I added it to the watch list on September 1st of 2020. But now the stock is showing a 42% gain since that time. Overall, the average gain of our entire watch list is 50%, which is pretty remarkable. So again, congratulations on those gains if you bought in when I recommended those stocks. And if you did, I want to hear about it. So email me at feedback@moneyandmarkets.com and tell me how you did. Now, there's some other cannabis updates that could be very good news for the market. In Alabama, a state Senate committee advanced the medical marijuana legalization bill last week, moving it to the full floor of the Alabama State Senate for review. And it includes using medical marijuana to help curb around 20 different ailments. In Virginia, both chambers of the Virginia General Assembly approved legislation on Friday to legalize adult use marijuana. And it's going to take some time to work out the regulations, but Virginia would join 15 other states and the District of Columbia in legalizing recreational use if the bill is signed into law. And as I understand, the governor there is prime to do so. In Kansas, Governor Laura Kelly, my home state, has said her state is now ready for medical marijuana legalization. All forms of marijuana remain illegal in Kansas. However, she's going to face some opposition because both the state House and the state Senate are controlled by Republicans, and Republicans in that state have said they're not necessarily in favor of it. She said that the proceeds from legalizing medical marijuana in the state could help expand Medicaid in Kansas. Now, in New Mexico, following suit, this is a state that's being closely watched because of its proximity to Arizona, and Arizona voters just voting to legalize adult use marijuana. Both houses in the New Mexico legislature have introduced cannabis legalization. The state hopes to follow Arizona, whose voters approved that in November during the 2020 general election. Lawmakers, however, said the bills in both the House and Senate still have stark differences to be worked out, including those revolving around social justice and things like that. So it's going to take a little bit of time for it to happen, but they have been introduced, and they are getting some traction. And in Wisconsin, according to Marijuana Moment, Governor Tony Evers plans to include marijuana legalization in his budget proposal, which is expected out sometime next week. Federally, of course, we all heard the big news that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has held a meeting to formulate the 2021 federal legalization plan for cannabis with hopes of ending the federal prohibition of cannabis. This could be huge. This is exactly what cannabis companies and investors are hoping for, because once that happens, it could open the door to allow cannabis companies to obtain financial backing from federally insured banks, which now they are not able to do. because it is considered an illegal controlled substance. So if that legalization it comes into play, then cannabis companies could see a huge financial boost and maybe start working towards profitability. Now, stay tuned later this week. Like I said, I'm going to have an interview with a cannabis insider about the status of the cannabis market. He is a high-ranking corporate officer for one of the largest CBD companies in North America. So you want to stay tuned and hear that. It's going to come out later this week. Also, we're going to have more on the Bull and the Bear podcast, as well as our Money and Markets week ahead. So stay tuned for all that. Check out moneyandmarkets.com each and every day for new content that provides safe and profitable information for you. I'm Matt Clark, research analyst for Money and Markets, host of the Bull and the Bear podcast. Until next time, everyone, safe trading.